Hello and welcome to this video. Now, we're going to talk about POE 1 and POE 2. Now, ask yourself, should GGG focus on POE 1 or POE 2 with 3/4 of the devs at any one time? Simple answer would be POE 2 because it's not done. But I'm going to give the argument that they should focus on POE 1 more than they do POE 2. Okay, let's dive in. So, everyone knows POE 2, it's early access, and as you can see here, it's 0.3.1, and we have about 2-3 months of pretty much this as what POE 2 is at the moment, because the next league won't be maybe until early December, probably after the actual New Year. After they have a break as well, keep that in mind. And Path of Exile 1, we expect to have a league by the end of October, maybe pushed back to the start of November, which would pretty much guarantee Path of Exile 2 not to have a league until February, maybe later, depending on how they go. Now, here's the arguments. Where do GGG make all their money? I would argue Path of Exile 1. Now, how do they make their money? As you can see down here, yep, I'm out of the way, stash tabs and all that, quality of life as most people call it, things. They started doing plushies and giveaway, well, not even giveaway, buying like merch type stuff like plushies. They got other stuff that you can get through packs. If we have a look at the shop, a massive part of where they get their money is skill effects. People love to change up their skill effects. A lot of streamers change up skill effects that look boring to make it look good for either their content or just their stream or whatever, anything like that. And pretty much 30 coins is like 30 bucks. So quality of life or MTXs is pretty much where GGG get their money, and armor, everything, all these stuff, even the guild stuff, hideouts, pets, not so much, but it's still a thing that people buy, and you see people running around with pets all the time. But the likelihood of GGG focusing on Path of Exile 2 to the point where Path of Exile 1 is an afterthought is pretty much guaranteed at the moment, because they want people to like this, they want people to play this. But the problem is, Path of Exile 1, people might play for a month, maybe 2 months at the start of a new league. There is obviously variations on that. There's people that play Path of Exile 1 year round, people that play Path of Exile 1 for a character, they do what they want to do, and then they go somewhere else. There's two ends of the bell curve, but pretty much a month, 2 months is where people play, and then this is why GGG is trying to make that 2-month period when the next league for the opposite is coming out, so people stick with GGG and not go to another game. The problem is there is so much wrong with Path of Exile 2 at the moment. Some have to do with the fact that it's early access, is not a complete game. But other aspects are because there's some core fundamental things that have issues that they really are butting heads with the player base with, and trying to come up with the quickest, easiest way to sort that out for the player base to be happy whilst they're happy as well, which then sort of mucks up their stuff. Pretty much with the endgame changes, it's pretty much pathofexile 1.5 in the endgame at the moment. What they pretty much need to do is one, hire more developers, because 2-3 times they've had to state publicly that they haven't had content for pathofexile 1 or whatever because they don't have the developers working on the other one because they're working on this one. So, one, I think they need to hire more people, even just temps sorting out a lot of the stuff. And the artistic side and the gameplay side is way too clashing. You can't see a lot of stuff for a lot of skills, and you can't see a lot of the ground degens and all that. So there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done, which takes huge amounts of time and won't be done if they're trying to create another league. The endgame stuff, that will take 5+ years to get to the point where it is, say, done. It's going to, just like pathofexile 1, it took years and years of tweaking and changing to get it to where it should be, or where everyone's happy and all that. So ideally for the player base, we don't see another league from pathofexile 2 for like 4 months, and then they work on everything, and maybe 4-6 months after that they launch another big thing. Yes, it will mean that pathofexile 1 will have players, pathofexile 2 won't have as many, and some people might go away and play another game. But if pathofexile 1 just become the closest thing would be Diablo 2. They like kept adding things, and then all it is just a new ladder, new league. There's nothing really added, and then people just play because it's a new league. That's what pathofexile 1 is heading towards if they don't focus on their cash cow, which is pathofexile 1, because everyone wants the new shiny MTXs and all that. If I had money and I could actually buy stuff every league and all that, I would buy a bunch of MTXs, I would buy a bunch of armor sets, I'd buy supporter packs every league because they look cool, and pathofexile 1 has the groundwork to make it look cool. I would not spend it on pathofexile 2, just purely because I don't need more screen clutter. Like, it's not clean as it is. I don't want more clutter and all that. Some of the armor sets and all that are awesome. I'd probably buy some armor sets if I had money. But I'd certainly probably spend easily like 500 coins, and you can do the math on how much that would cost, on armor sets and skill effects and just supporter packs that look cool. I would do that on this. I wouldn't do it on that. And I think that's the majority of people. They would rather this stuff on this game than to clutter up their screen and make it even more unlegible what you're doing. So yeah, I reckon pathofexile 1 needs to be their key priority. Pathofexile 2, they need to treat as if it's in development and only come out with big changes every 4 to 6 months, and then patch things and balance skills and all that, even with the negative feedback they're going to get if they balance skills. say we won't change skills for 2 months unless they are just broken or the mechanics are put in wrong. Like the twisters, they were doing 1,000 times damage instead of like 150 damage. So I think the player base would go, okay, I got 2 months to use this skill in the more broken state, and then I'll need to change skills, and I'll have 2 months to actually figure out how to do that. I think the player base would be fine with that. And then they could tweak stuff and figure out stuff, put this in, take this out, change this, change that, and not actually wait for a league launch. They added this because I don't think they're comfortable with their time frame. They added this because one, people, as I said in one of my videos, mapping is pointless, towers are pointless, you can't do anything you want to do. So they changed it, and obviously not because I said, but I was right. They obviously the player base agreed, and they changed it up, and now it's like Path of Exile 1. And towers, I think, still need to be a pinnacle thing you hit to unlock a harder difficulty. Past that you shouldn't be able to go any higher than X level until you conquer a tower and make towers a pinnacle thing. Otherwise, just delete towers. Delete towers and just add a pinnacle boss or something that does the fog. And yeah, so 4 to 6 months, add something big. Other than that, just change and balance things every, say, 2 months, and just, it's a patch. Just a patch, just a patch. Don't care about if player base is a bit cranky, because if something's completely broken, the player base knows it's going to be fixed. Like the way Ark was interacting with everything, everyone expected it to be nerfed. It wasn't. Everyone was surprised and wondering why it wasn't actually nerfed in one of the patches that were coming through. Player base is fine with you nerfing things that are completely too much power and too easy to get the power. Players are fine with that overall. They need to focus on Path of Exile 1, make each league, even if they made it so it takes longer to actually get through and unlock things and it's a bit more grindy, this game has the capability to allow you to grind. This just seems like a club over the head every time they add something that's a grind, because the game is more grindy. Until they figure out that balance, anything they add that's grindy won't work on Path of Exile 2, it will on Path of Exile 1. People will have all the stuff in Path of Exile 1 to be able to do that and cope with that, and they're already there. The mechanics are there, the balances of different things are there. Path of Exile 2, no. So they need to pretty much scrap their sort of league, because this will be just POE 1.5 if they keep doing that, in my opinion. So let me know what you think. Should they focus mainly on Path of Exile 1, making sure each league is just giga presented and awesome, and keep players there for 1 to 2 months, and then just every month, 2 months, patch, and then every 4 to 6 months, something big changes in Path of Exile 2. That will bring more people back to Path of Exile 2 than just these patches, because people don't care. Like, once you've stopped caring, adding a patch that changes endgame will only bring back a small part of the player base. They're just waiting for the next league, which is Path of Exile 1. They're just, it's like, oh, cool, you could have added that when I was actually playing. Now I'll just wait till next week. Like, they've already lost the people, is what I'm trying to say. So let me know what you think and whether you actually get all these MTXs. Because as I said, if I had money, I would get a whole bunch of MTXs and stuff. But I don't have the money to, so I can't. But I'll catch you in the next video and have a good one.